Today's card is this gorgeous, clean and simple card that I've made using a new stamp set that I bought from a company called Unico. This is new to me. I hadn't heard of them before, but I discovered them at the Stamperama event in York. Bought this cute stamp set, which has bee, honeycomb and a few sentiments, and I've made this card with it. So it says buzzing by to say, got a cute little flower. I've coloured the flower with pro markers and cut the bees out. I've stuck them up so you can see they're kind of slightly raised off the page. And then I've just printed this sentiment because it's from my friend Laura and I wanted it to actually say happy birthday Laura. So I thought that was probably the most professional way of doing it. You can see this is a super easy card, super simple, but quite effective. If you want to see how I did it, stay tuned. So I've got here a 12 by 17 piece of white cardstock. This isn't actually my watercolor cardstock because I'm not going to be doing a lot with water or mixed media today, so I'm just using this basic white. And I've got here this Unico stamp set. Now I'm loving this. I bought this at Stamperama in York. It's a really cute set. It's got these little bees and these hexagons which you can join together to make patterns. It's got some really lovely sentiments. This is available from unico.co.uk. They're a new company. I haven't really bought anything from them before, but I bought this set. I've already made one card using the hexagon and the bees, and I just love it. So I'm going to make another card using this today. Now, I want a simple, nice, simple birthday card for a friend. This is for my friend Laura. I've already printed a sentiment that says happy birthday Laura, which I just want to make a really simple little card to go with it. So I think I'm going to make the flower with a hexagon and then just a few bees around it, probably a little bit of inking around the edge. I haven't really got too much of a plan, but sometimes that's quite nice. So I'm going in straight away, no messing about. I'm going to be using my stamping platform. Now, another little helpful tip, I usually keep a piece of scrap paper in the bottom of my platform. This gives a little extra height when you're stamping, but also it's just a handy thing to have because it kind of grounds the paper a little bit. So I always keep that. I tend to keep a piece in the back. I don't know whether it's a good thing or not, but hey. So I'm just going to roughly kind of lay out what I want. I want this to be a clean and simple card. As I said, I'm using this printed sentiment. Obviously, this isn't one that came with the set or anything. There is quite a cute little sentiment at the top here, buzzing by to say. So I might actually put that at the top, the flower, the bees, and then happy birthday Laura at the bottom. That's what I'm thinking in terms of layout. So let's just have a think about how that would look. So I'm kind of thinking something like that. So obviously I've got the stem of the flower and then I need the head. I mean, there are two different head sizes here, but I think I'm actually going to use the hexagon. So because they don't kind of quite fit together, I'm going to stamp it in two different layers. So I need to stamp these two elements first and then I'll do the other stuff. So I want to leave myself a bit of space to play with at the top if I'm going to do any kind of colouring around the edge. I haven't really thought about that yet. Let's just have a think about measurements. So that is, there it's approximately 3, there it's approximately 3, so that's kind of in the middle on the wonk, and then about there as well. I think it's probably in the middle. So that's 4 and a bit, that's 4 and a bit more, so I think it needs to come across a little bit. There we go. There's a slight mark on the paper here, but I'm not too worried about that. Okay, right, let's go for it. So I'm just going to close my platform down, pick up the two stamps. Now I haven't used either of these, so before I stamp with them, another little trick, I'm just going to give them a bit of a spritz with some water and then dry them with a cloth or a piece of kitchen towel. The reason I'm doing that is that during the production process, stamps do get powder and dust on them. So it's not a bad idea to always just give them a clean before you use them. If you don't do that, you find that sometimes they don't stamp too well the first few times that you use them. Another little trick is to just put your hand on them because the grease from your hand will also remove anything that's been left by the production process. So just give them a little bit of a clean, use your hand, and then ink them up as normal. I'm using VersaFine Black Onyx, which is my favourite. So let's just stamp that and just see what that looks like. Obviously this is only a couple of elements which I need to add to, but hopefully this, and look at that, how cute is that? So that's really nice. I'm going to emboss it with clear powder, as I always do, just to really set the ink and set the image. Just give that a tap off, and then I'm just going to zap that quickly with my heat tool just to set it. So I just spotted there's a little bit of embossed powder there above, which I don't really want, so I'm just going to brush that off. Right, there we go. So let's just heat emboss that. You can see straight away, kind of sets the ink, makes it nice and glossy, stops it running if you apply the ink and stuff around it, which is always a good idea. Okay, so there's our first bit. So that's done. So I'm going to put it back into the stamping platform, and then I'm just going to clean this stuff off on the side. So just a little spritz with water. I usually would use a cloth for this, but my cloth is actually in the wash at the moment, so I don't have one next to me, so just using a piece of kitchen towel. Kitchen towel's fine. The only thing I find, it does sometimes leave loose fibres on things which you don't really want, but hey, we can kind of cope with that. Right, so let me just put these back. This is a stamp set I bought at the Stamperama event in York, which was really good. I did an unboxing video of all my different purchases, which you may or may not have seen. It was a really good show, actually, and Unico is a brand I discovered there, so I'm really happy I found them because I really like their stamps. So I'm not gonna line it up perfectly. I mean, it's a flower, but I need it kind of roughly in the right place. Check it once you've got it. I think that's about right. Might just move it across a tiny little bit. In fact, I'm going to do that again because I don't think it is in the right place. There we go. Cool. Right, let's just ink that up. And the good thing about the stamping platform, of course, is if it doesn't stamp well, you can always go again. Right, that's ended up being fine. That looks quite nice. So I'm now just going to emboss that again because I want to colour that in. So there we go. And then just zap it again with my heat tool. There we go, and just heat from the back as well, stops the paper from warping. Just make sure you capture any embossed powder that you've not heated already. Okay, cool. So that's our flower done. Just going to zap that and give that a quick clean. It's good to clean as you go along. Don't put them on the side and think you'll do it later when you then don't. It's good practice to keep your stamps nice and clean. Now, what we need as well then is we need a few bees. These bees are lovely. I have fussy cut these, and I don't really like fussy cutting. But anyway, I did manage to cut a few successfully for a previous card. So I'm going to stamp these, but I'm going to just do these with a little acrylic block. I don't need anything too fancy. So I'm just taking a very little scrappy piece of card, and I'm just going to ink that up and stamp it. It stamps really nicely. Now you see, this is exactly what I was telling you about. I've actually got a hair on that stamp. You can see there, the hair. And if I look here, I can see it. So I'm going to just give that a wipe. We won't be using that one, just to get rid of that. There we go. So there you go, that one's better. We just need a few of these. Probably 3. 3 is a magic number in card making and in life. Think of all the things that comes in 3s: red, amber, green. 1, 2, 3. Ready, steady, cook. 3 is kind of a magic number in life. It's a number that everybody can remember, and it's also information in really interpretable blocks of volume apparently. So in card making it's quite similar. You'll find that a lot of people put three jewels on a card, 3 gems, 3 bits of anything. It's kind of the magic number. It's pleasing to people's eyes. So I don't know the full science behind it, but it certainly is something that a lot of people follow. So similarly, I will put probably 3 Bs on this card. Okay, so let's stick that back down on my stamp set, put this out of the way. What I need to do now is just heat my Bs, just to get them all nice and glossy, so I can colour them and cut them. I've stamped a couple extra, obviously, just in case. I mean, I've got the dodgy one, but I've got an extra one just in case I cut anything wrong or screw it up. Right, so let's maybe actually start with, if I can find my little scissors, with cutting these out. So the first thing to do, fussy cutting. Now, I don't like fussy cutting. I'm not very good at it. My friend Denise is the world expert at fussy cutting. She'll probably be watching this video laughing at what I've just said, but she is really good at it. She sits there with a tray on her lap watching television, fussy cutting, whereas I find it so stressful I practically need a sit down. So the things I've learned about fussy cutting, even though I don't like it: move the project, not the scissors. So get the scissors in a good place and then move the project around what you're cutting. So I'm on this one, which is quite unusual, I'm actually cutting, leaving a white border around the project because that's the look I want. You could actually kind of cut right up to it, but in this scenario, I actually want a white border around it. So I'm leaving a little gap. This is what I did on the previous card I made, which I will post a picture of as well, just to show you another option with this stamp set. I met Beverly, who designed this stamp set for Unico. She's the owner of the company, and I had a nice chat with her at Stamporama. Really lovely lady, very passionate about what she does, and I really love the kind of clean, bold, modern design of their stamps. The other thing they do, which I definitely need to buy, I didn't buy at the fair, but they do a lot of stencils that are layering stencils, where you put various layers of the stencil down in stages and it builds up the image. This is something that is used a lot in America. A lot of American stencils are these layering stencils. So I'll be interested to try that at some point. She had some really lovely kind of geometric shapes and things like that. I wasn't too sure at the fair, so I didn't buy any, but just having a look on the website, etc. later, I then kind of thought, oh yeah, I'd really want to try that. So I will probably make some purchases from her website. Also, I noticed they've got a 13th birthday celebration event going on, so I think there probably will be some bargains. So get yourself over to the website and have a look if you're interested in this style of stamp or style of image. Lots of modern geometric shapes, kind of all a Kelly type stuff. A lot of John Lewis bed linen has those kind of geometric shape patterns. She's got stamps that are kind of like that. So I'm just cutting, you can see I'm just cutting around, trying to make sure that none of the edges are too square. And it's just, it's just a process. It kind of scares me, but I just get on with it now and think, okay, fine. And you've got to remember as well, you look at it with a critical eye. The person who receives the cards just looks at it and goes, oh, it's really cute, it's a little bee. They don't notice any imperfections. It's a handmade card, for heaven's sakes. So it's going to have imperfections, and that's part of its unique charm. There we go. So that's one fussy cut. You can see it looks quite cute when you've done it. You see that? It's quite good. Got a lot of detail on it. It's really nice. So I'm just going to cut another couple of those out using the same process. You just kind of have to go around. And then I'll probably colour the body. I could put a little bit of glossy accents or maybe a really light blue on the wings to kind of indicate that there is something there, albeit transparent. Could put glossy accents on them to give them a bit of shine. There's all sorts of options. what you can do. But and this is what I like with the stamp set like this. It's really versatile. You can actually just do lots of different things. So, and that's one thing I like doing. A lot of people buy a stamp set and they just use it kind of in one way and then put it away. I like keeping a stamp set I like out on my desk, looking at it and thinking, okay, I've just thought of another idea, another different way I can use that same stamp set. This is how you get your money's worth out of a stamp set. Multiple cards from the same thing. I keep saying this about all my Christmas stamps. I've got enough Christmas stamps to do Christmas for the rest of my life, which is probably, hopefully, about another 30 or 40 years. But yeah, I will still go and buy new stuff, obviously, because I'm a card maker, and that's kind of what we do. I'm just cutting around here. Definitely not following the rules. Cutting so I can't actually see what I'm doing, which is a bit stupid. But hey, there we go. That one's, see, that one's not perfect, but hey, kind of go with it. If I screw this up really badly, I would abandon it and go for the other one. With this, because there's no matching die, you kind of have to, if you want fussy cut it, you're always going to get a little bit of variety in the way you cut it. But I think that's all kind of part of the unique charm. There we go. There's a second one, that's good enough. And then a third one. You're never going to get the border exactly the same amount all the way around, but as long as it's fairly good. These scissors are the Tim Holtz little scissors. I bought them actually at Stamporama last year. My friend Kate said they're really good. I took her advice and I certainly have not regretted it, because I was trying to cut with great big scissors and I've just found that these are way better. So I definitely remember buying them and thinking, oh, I hope they're good, and I haven't really been disappointed at all. So they are good. They're very good because they're small. You've not got a huge blade that you're dealing with. So for me, being a cack-handed man, they've actually worked out quite well. I know a lot of you ladies out there have got much smaller, much more delicate fingers, whereas I have man hands. Cool, there we go. These are quite small, but you can actually cut them fairly easily. I love anything to do with bees. I'm kind of bee obsessed. So for me, when I saw it, I thought straight away I need to have that set. Although I've already got many bee stamp sets, I just like the really modern style of this one. And Beverly, I stood talking to her. She's a really lovely, lovely lady. There we go. I'm just going to cut these corners off a little bit, just so he hasn't got any kind of really angular edges. There we go. There's 3 bees. So I've actually got a spare there, which I shall probably just put away in the stamp set so that I've got one for another day. Cool. Right, let's just clear that away. Get rid of all my bits into my scrap folder, scrap pot. Right, let's colour this then. So I'm just going to take a kind of a nice bright yellow. Got a pro marker here in sunflower, and I'm just going to colour these very, very quickly. So I'm literally using the square end and I'm just dabbing in the colour. I just want the body. Being careful, obviously, not to go outside. There we go. And then, similarly, I'm going to colour the flower. Now, I might do 2 different colours in the flower just to give it a bit of variety. So I'd grab another colour that's similar. So I've got here my canary and my sunflower. What I'm going to do, I'm going to just do a bit of sunflower in the middle. like so. And then I'm going to go over that with the canary and take the canary out to the outer edge. It's a very subtle difference in colour. You're not really going to notice it too much, but if you do notice it, it just kind of adds. So we go over the darker colour with the lighter colour and then colour the rest. And you can see when it dries, you can sort of notice that there are two different colours. You don't see it so much when it's wet. But always go over the other colour first. My friends Dina and Jan taught me that. It helps kind of get the blend going. There we go. So there's our plant colours. Now I'm wondering whether I should colour the leaves. I think maybe that could be quite cute. Let me just get my pens. Let's find a suitable pen. I think we need quite a light green, so I'm thinking maybe like a lime. There you go, lime zest, that one is. Maybe we'll just do it in lime zest. So I'm just going to go straight in with that. Because I've heat embossed, I've got a sort of a slightly raised edge to go up to, which is really good. Stops you making mistakes. There we go. I should colour the middle, which I'm going to do all in the sunflower. So it's a bit like a centre. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to put my bees. Now I'm going to do them, I'm going to raise them up. So I'm using some little foam pads. These are just cheapy basic ones that I got from, I think, Temu or somewhere. So I'm going to turn my bees over and I'm just going to stick a little foam pad on the back of each, like thus. These are, because they're cheap, they're not brilliant, but hey, they're near enough. They do sometimes come off in more than one, but if you stick them on an angle, that's fine. So let's take our 3 backs off. And then put our bees on. Anywhere you want, really. There we go. Now, what I'm going to do, because I want to tone in my sentiment with my colour scheme, I'm going to put my Happy Birthday Laura, which I've printed, but I'm going to make a piece of yellow that goes around it in the same colour that I've used. So I will take my sunflower and I will just colour this piece of card just with that sunflower colour. And this is a really good way of matching your projects, making sure that all your colours are the same. You don't need a stock of every single colour card in the world. If you use a colouring pen or an ink to colour your project, just make a piece of card with that colour on it and use that instead. So I'm just going to dry that quickly with my heat tool. Make sure that's completely dry. And then I'm going to stick some double-sided tape on the back of my sentiment. So I'm just going to rip that. But then I think I also need to cut it down slightly because it's a bit too wide. There we go. Cool. There we go, and I can use the little offcut to just create a little tiny piece for the end. If I can actually do it properly. That's not working too well. I'm just going to actually pull another piece off. I've made a pig's ear of that and it's all stuck over my hand. Let me just get rid of that. I'm just literally going to rip a piece off of here and stick that on the end. Don't worry that it goes over, because when I take it off, which I'm now about to do, I can just fold that over. So peel that off, peel that off as well. But before I apply it, just do that so that you kind of pull it in. There we go. And then there we go. Then I'm going to just use my scalpel and cut that down. Make sure you get in a good place where you can see it. So we're obviously eyeballing this, not measuring. And same at the end. There we go. So we've got our sentiment, which we're just going to stick on the bottom. There we go, and that's coming along quite nicely. Right, I'm going to do that first. So how I'm going to get this in the right place, I'm going to use the grid on my cutting mat. So I'm going to square up my card left and right. Just going to hold it down, and then I'm going to lay my ruler on one of the lines. Now, this is tricky for me to see because obviously I've got you guys up here. So I'm going to stand up to do this. Now, because I've made it a little bit wider, obviously I can just use a piece of tape from the roll this time and just stick that on the back. Peel that off. And then we're just going to drop it on. I mean, I could have put ribbon across or something across the card, but I actually want to keep this one fairly simple. So I'm just going to stand up to do this. Apologies if I sound a bit funny. So I think somewhere there is probably the middle, roughly. 10, 8, 2.4. 2.4, that's just about right. Perfect. Okay, cool. Now, we need to do something around the edge. It's looking a bit spare around the edge. I could leave it very plain and simple, but I'm actually going to take my smoothie and a little bit of fossilized amber. I'm not going to use loads of ink here, so I'm going to take some ink and I'm just going to dab it off slightly on the lid, and then I'm just going to literally run it around the edge like this. I only want a very, very small hint of colour. I just don't want a completely plain white edge. I will layer this down with black, and because I've got black ink and I've got a black sentiment, that will look good. But I just want to give it just a little something around the edge. So you can see I've only took one dab of ink and I've taken some off to do the whole card. You don't want loads of ink. If you do that, you will lose control of the ink potentially. We don't want that to happen. What I'd also then do, I'll literally just do a tiny little bit coming onto the corners. So you can see I'm dabbing really gently so that I can control how much ink is coming on. Just working my way around so that I've got a tiny little bit and just a suggestion of that colour around the corners. There we go, that's all I'm doing. Now I'm going to take a piece of black and create my actual layer. So I'm flipping it over, double-sided tape. It's a dirty mark on the back of this card. I don't really know where that's from, but luckily I picked the side that didn't have that on it. Double-sided tape all the way around. You could glue it. I tend to use tape. Just find it a little bit less risky. Glue sometimes does warp the page. I tend to use tape. Piece of tape across the middle, and then this is, I'm just going to put this straight down, so I'm not doing any kind of bunny ears or anything on this. I don't need to micro position it. Okay, so just find a good corner. Looking at that corner, it's got a little bit in it, so I'm not going to use that one. That one looks okay, so I'm going to use that one. So move like this. So you're moving it up to the corner. This allows you to control it, and you can then determine how big the border you want. Anchor one corner, look down to the next one, check over here, drop it down, press it, and then just go around the edges to make sure it's okay. I'm just gonna run my knife along the top here because I've noticed there's just a few sort of jaggedy bits, which is a little bit strange. There we go, let's get rid of them. Cool, and then we're now gonna just trim this down, obviously. So even it up roughly. I mean, this is all by eye. This doesn't have to be perfect, but as long as it looks kind of half decent. There we go. And just run with confidence, not too fast, and then it will cut nicely. Similarly, flip it. Make sure where you're looking, you can see like that. I'm still looking at these little jagged bits, not really loving them, but I'm sure I can get rid of those. And then again, kind of set your sights on your border, even it up, and cut it. There we go. And then all we need now is a 7.5-inch card blank, which I've got in my cupboard next to me. Just a bog standard white. Just going to fold that and use my bone folder to just make sure it's got a nice solid fold in it. Do both sides, but again, check it kind of halfway through just to make sure it's in the right place. Nothing worse than a card where the corners aren't aligned. That's fine, there's a bit of a mark there, so I'm going to use that as the front. And then again, we need some double-sided tape. I do go quite fast, I know, when I'm card making, so hopefully that's okay for people. If anybody has any questions, anything I've done that you're thinking, what, can you explain that in a bit more detail, or, you know, hone in on it in a future video, just let me know. Just ping me in the comments. I've done videos before based on things that people have asked. So if you're interested in a particular bit of the process, want me to do a little technique video, just let me know. Always happy to take feedback, and it's also lovely when people comment as well. Comment, let me know where you are in the world. I know a lot of people in America watch my videos, which always amazes me. It would be lovely actually if people did comment and say where they're watching from, because it's nice to know that your videos are reaching around the world. Cool. There we go. So again, let's find our dirty mark, which is there. This is the front. Just check that I'm opening the right way, and then let's just stick that down. It's quite tight. I'm actually just noticing that that is not perfectly square there, so I'm actually going to just correct that in my folding because I don't like that. There we go, that's better. Right, we're quite wide, but we just need to even that up. You can see my black goes pretty much right to the edge, which is fine, but it just means we need to be careful. So pull the tape, press it down, pull the tape, press it down, pull the tape, pull the tape. There we go. And there's pretty much our card. Now, this is the moment when we kind of decide on any finishing touches. What we might do, I'm just reaching over here to my little gem stash. What we might do is just put a little gold gem in the middle, because that will finish it off nicely. So I'm just going to take a little gold gem here, pop that in the middle. That is almost the nectar that the bees are after. And then in terms of other enhancement as well, I could glossy accent the wings, which I think I will do. So I've got my glossy accents here. These are a good product. They're by Ranger, who do a lot of the inks, etc. The only thing I've noticed with this though is it does tend to clog up. So 9 times out of 10 when you go to use it, nothing comes out. The best thing to fix this with is the pin from the top of your glue bottle. If you've got one of these little glue bottles, just go in there with your pin, give it a shimmy around, and you'll find 9 times out of 10 that will actually sort it out. Try it again. There you go, now it's working. Give it a squeeze. I know a lot of people keep theirs upside down so that it kind of stops this happening, but that's still not really coming out freely. I've obviously got a bit that's dried in the mouth of the bottle. But it's a great product for, especially for eyes and things, where you can just give a little glossy effect. There we go, we're working fine now. I'm just going to clean the nib, make sure that's quite small. And then we're just going to put this on our bee wings. So squeeze it gently. Best to kind of keep a general slight pressure on the bottle and just squeeze it and dot and dab it down. That way you can kind of control where it goes. See, I'm just tapping it down onto the project because you need to be able to control where it ends up. There we go. So we've now got our glossy accents on our bees. And obviously I'll photograph the card once that's dry because it just takes a little while. Pop it on a windowsill or somewhere in the sun. Okay, there's today's video. So mainly with this lovely Unico stamp set. You can get this at www.unico.co.uk. And I am loving this. It's got some really lovely sentiments. You've got this, I miss you, I love you, hello. There are also little bee trails, so you could actually add little bee trails on here. I haven't done it on this card, but I have done it on the other one, and they're really super cute. So this is a really lovely little stamp set. I'm definitely going to get my money's worth out of this for sure, because I just love the very sort of clean and simple style of it. So if you're interested in that one, obviously I've given you the website. You could happily go and buy that. Cool, so there's today's card. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, and I will post a picture when it's finished and dried, and I'll also do a little close-up of the wings so you can see. Okay, great. Hopefully you enjoyed that. If you did, please give my channel a little like and subscribe, and I will see you in a future card making video. Thank you.